Year 3. It is Tuesday, the 2nd of February, and in today's English lesson, we are going to investigate paragraphs. This last week with Mr. Howell, we looked at headings and subheadings. We're also going to think about which headings and subheadings would match with our paragraphs throughout this lesson. So first of all, what is a paragraph? A paragraph is a group of sentences in writing that are all about the same topic. So on this non-fiction text I have up here, there are 1, 2, 3. Now, although this writing down here is all in the same box, there are actually 2 paragraphs. So the top one will be all about one topic, and then the author will start writing about something else. As well as non-fiction, the paragraphs are used all of the time in fiction, in all of the stories that we read. And in fact, just pause for a moment and see if you can identify how many paragraphs are in this piece of text. Okay, I'm going to show you now. So we have really short paragraph there, only 2 sentences. First sentence ends there, and the second sentence ends here. So it's 1 paragraph. You had to look very carefully here. Actually, that's another paragraph there. Your third and fourth. And these are split up by leaving a gap in between, as we do when we write paragraphs in our English. Okay, so why do we use paragraphs? So it makes the text easier to read rather than having one big long page of writing. It groups ideas together, and that's especially important when we're doing non-fiction texts, which we're going to be writing at the end of next week. So you can just look for subheadings and find the information that you want. It's to show that the author has changed topic, and it's to organise what has been explained in the text. Makes information easier to find. Okay, on this slide here, I have given you 6 statements. I'm going to read each one in turn, and they can be grouped into A and B. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the topic is in A and B. You need to have a think and see if you can group the sentences together that would match. So let's start with this one here. Ancient Egyptian people lived by the River Nile. I'm going to move on to here. Pyramids were built for pharaohs. I want you to have a little think. In this statement here, we're talking about ancient Egypt and the River Nile. And this one here, thinking about pharaohs and pyramids. Would they necessarily link? Would those 2 sentences go together in the same paragraph? Next one down here. Inside were hieroglyphics on the walls which kept the pharaohs safe. Now already this word is cropped up in this sentence here and this one over here. And I want you to think about inside where. All right, the water was used for washing, drinking, and transportation. Which of these would you link water with? Down here, the river kept the soil next to the water fertile so that crops could grow. Again, this word river. And the final statement, pharaohs were buried with their most precious possessions to take to the afterlife. So what I want you to do is just pause the video now, and you should make 2 lists. You can either write these down or just chat or just think in your head which sentences are grouped together. So you should have group A and group B. Okay, over here in group A, we have ancient Egyptian people lived by the River Nile. The water was used for washing, drinking and transportation, and the river kept the soil next to the water fertile so that crops could grow. All of those statements come together to tell you about ancient Egypt, the River Nile in ancient Egyptian times. Over here, the pyramids were built for pharaohs. Inside were hieroglyphics on the walls which kept the pharaohs safe, and pharaohs were buried with their most precious possessions to take into the afterlife. These three statements are all about pyramids or pharaohs being buried within the tombs in the pyramids. I have written a paragraph here. However, it is incorrect as there are 3 different topics within it. So there should be 3 separate paragraphs. I'm going to read it aloud to you and then I want you to see if you can figure out what the topics are and where I should have created my paragraphs. There were more than 2,000 gods in ancient Egypt. Most took human form, but some had the heads of animals. Ra was the god of the sun and lord of the gods. He is shown to have the body of a human and the head of a falcon. Horus was the god of the sky. He is shown to have the head of a hawk. I just want you to pause there now, see if you can think where the paragraph should have been split up and what the information is showing in each paragraph. Okay, I'm hoping that you've got something along these lines. The green here, there were more than 2,000 gods in ancient Egypt. Most took human form, but some had the heads of animals. Now that discusses all of the gods as a whole. Right, speaking about 2,000 gods. The second paragraph, the pink one, was all about Ra. So Ra was the god of the sun and lord of the gods. He is shown to have the body of a human and the head of a falcon. So that paragraph was all about this god over here, Ra. Horus was the god of the sky. He is shown to have the head of a hawk. Okay, and that sentence there, this blue one, or these two statements, were all about Horus there. So it's 3 separate topics. So they should have been split into 3 separate paragraphs. And that would look something like this. Now you can see I have put the pictures with their paragraph up here, and I've also given them each a subheading. This one, ancient Egyptian gods, as this information here is all about ancient Egyptian gods. I've used a question as a subheading for Ra. Who was Ra? Again, I've grouped those together, and my subheading for the final paragraph was just Horus. Okay, I want you to head over to Teams now. You have 2 tasks. Task 1 is to match the information together. So you need to group the sentences together just like we did on previous slides. Put all of the same information together, and then I want you to write a subheading that would go with each paragraph. Bye!